Thank you, everyone. This is so great to see everybody here in downtown Youngstown talking about the future not only of this community, but of the country. You all know as well as I do that we are in a very unique time, very unique place in the history of our country. I don't think that's a news flash. But what we need to understand is that when we have these moments in America, that it's the men and women on the front lines, like all of you, that are absolutely essential to us getting to where we need to be, to us meeting the moment. And we have to, at some level, with all the complexities and difficulties that we have in this country, living in a free society, living in a democracy, a democratic republic, that things get messy, things get sloppy, we do things wrong. We fight too much about dumb stuff that is really irrelevant to the interests of the vast majority of the people in the country. But I think coming out of the pandemic and coming out of the global economic collapse and dealing with all of the issues that we're dealing with today, I think we have to have some gratitude that we live in the United States of America, that we live in the kind of country that we are allowed to shape our own future. This country has fed more people, clothed more people, cured more people, and liberated more people than all the other countries of the world combined. And so we have an essential role in defending freedom and free society. And that sometimes gets really, really difficult. But that idea of freedom is the very foundation of what lit this country up and what has lit up free societies across the globe for over 200 years. And so when we get to these moments in our country's history where things are difficult, we're still a country of human beings. We're a country of citizens. And make no mistake about it, the highest title you can get in this country is citizen. Citizen. And today, what we are celebrating here after 10 years under the leadership of John and Ralph and Randy and so many other people, is that we have finally put a little bit of a plan together about where this country needs to be within additive manufacturing and 3D printing, within technology generally, and we are starting to move in a direction where we can dominate these industries of the future. And we are competing directly. This isn't a Democrat thing, this isn't a Republican thing, this is an American thing. People ask me, oh, you're a Democrat. It's not American. Okay? I'm an American. And we need to start looking at each other as Americans. And then we can have our different disagreements. But when you look at the competition that we are in right now, against primarily China, but we also affecting global energy crisis, and that trickles down to average families and average businesses. We are in a very stiff competition with a country, China, that has a long-term plan. Right? They spend 7 to 9% of their GDP on infrastructure every single year. The Belt Road Initiative which is building rail lines and gas lines all around the world. They have a rail line from Rotterdam to Beijing. They're building bases in Africa to protect the long-term raw material contracts they're signing with African nations in order to get the rare earth metals that they need, especially metals that they 30-year plan, 50-year plan, 100-year plan. And you come back to the United States, and we are trapped in a 24-hour news cycle talking about really dumb shit. You watch the news, right? And so, what we are celebrating today, yes, is the leadership from the gentleman that I mentioned, who have been here for 10 years. And what we're celebrating today is almost like counter-programming to what's been happening in the United States. It's been a group of people, a small group of people, now a bigger group of people, that has been laser-like focused on dominating additive manufacturing and 3D printing. Knowing what China is doing with rudders and improving the speed of making these things in a couple weeks as opposed to 2 or 3 months. What's special about this event is for 10 years, there has been a focus, there has been a discipline, there has been a committed attempt to ignore the critics about going backwards instead of going forwards. And that's what we're celebrating here today, is that we are doing it. You are doing it. And we're here in Congress to support and invest into the industries of the future. Because when you look at what's happening in the world, right, if the light of freedom goes out in the United States, the light of freedom goes out. And we have to have the most powerful military in the world. We have to. It's not a choice. It shouldn't be a liberal or conservative thing, because our defense capabilities, our technological capabilities, are inextricably linked to our economic success. And our economic success is directly linked to the success or failure that we have in rebuilding the great American middle class. And so we're talking about a level of leadership that you are providing today that is absolutely needed. Because if you're making your business decisions, or we're making governmental decisions in the short term, based on what's going on Twitter, what's going on social media, what's going on in the 24-hour news cycle, we will lose. We will lose. And I believe it's time for a very candid conversation in this country about where we're at and about where we're going. Because if you look and you think that China and Russia are going to start to shape the global economy without the United States being the dominant force, not for power's sake, but for what our principles are. No free speech in those countries. No free press in those countries. The guy who ran against Vladimir Putin a few years back got 9 years in prison because he ran against Vladimir Putin. So we have a deep and very profound obligation, once we realize that we should be grateful that we're here, but we're also the defenders of freedom, not to overstate it. And if we can continue to do what you're doing, driving investment, creating jobs, buying old industrial facilities, putting in new technologies, creating new jobs, we are going to have the American people that want to come along for the ride because of your vision, because of what you're doing. And I think that's really important. And this is absolutely to be celebrated here today. And I heard you went out and had a few cocktails last night to celebrate. You need to hydrate this morning. You know who you are. We know who you are. But you're in Youngstown, so you're good. I want to tell you one last story, because you guys obviously understand about the 3D printing market and its growth. It's going to quadruple over the next decade. Prototyping, molds, and tooling. I can give you all the stats. You probably know better than I do. These industries are growing. But here is what we have to know. There is this great old story about John Wood, who was the great basketball coach for the Los Angeles Lakers. Probably the wisest coach, like Bill Belichick. You can talk to any of these great coaches. They say, who's your role model? John Wood. So Wooden had this story that he tells in one of his books I read a few years back about Lou Alcindor, who played for him when he was coaching for the UCLA Bruins. And Alcindor, remember, was 7 foot whatever, and he could dunk the basketball. And so all he did for the Bruins was dunk the basketball. And they won a number of championships, NCAA championships. And so it got so bad that the NCAA banned the dunk. They banned the dunk because of Lou Alcindor. And so Alcindor was completely distraught, very upset. And so he was at practice one day, and John Wooden walks up to him and says, "What's the problem?" He said, "They took the dunk away, and I'm just not going to be the kind of player I'm going to be able to be, and NBA prospects are diminished now. No, I just don't know what I'm going to do." They banned the dunk. And John Wood looked up at him, and he said, "This will be your greatest opportunity. This will be your greatest opportunity." And Lou Alcindor went on to practice and perfect the hook shot. He later became Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and won multiple NBA championships with the Los Angeles Lakers, leading them with his unstoppable hook shot. And the point for us here is that we have these moments, as I spoke of, in our personal lives, our business lives, in the life of our country, where we have a decision. And we are either going to look down at our phones, or we're going to look up and out. And Americans always look up and out. Where are we going? Where are we going to be in 10 years? Where are we going to be in 20 years? And how are we going to shepherd this precious little thing called democracy to the next generation, hopefully a little bit better than we found it? And how are we going to refurbish and reinvest in communities like Youngstown, Ohio, or Scranton, Pennsylvania, or Milwaukee, or small little towns down along the Ohio River, or down the East Coast that have lost for the last 30 or 40 years? What's most exciting is we are transforming the economy, and we are transforming communities all over this country. And as this growth happens, it will be you who stepped up to bat. It will be your companies. It will be your employees. And recognizing that we are all in this together. China has 1.4 billion people. We only have 330 million. We have got to have everybody on board, playing, not with a red shirt or a blue shirt, but with a red, white, and blue shirt. If we can get that in our heads, if we can shake the fear, shake the hate, shake the anger, bring back more love and fellowship and grace and forgiveness to this society, there's nothing we can't do. Coming together as a Team USA, in dominating these industries of the future. That's what we're celebrating here. That's what you're doing. You should be so damn proud of what you're a part of. When I saw this coming together, I was so excited to be able to come here and just say a few words to you. And it's not going to be easy. You know, it's going to be difficult. But we got to keep focused when all of the noise, TV, social media is trying to say, what have you done? Where's the magic wand? We want to wave it and fix everything. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. And Bobby Kennedy used to say this at the end of his campaigns, and I'll leave you with this. He said, I do not promise you ease, and I do not promise you comfort. But I'll promise you these. I'll promise you weariness, I'll promise you hardship, and I'll promise you sacrifice. And with these, I'll promise you victory. Victory for our communities, victory for our families, victory for our businesses, victory for the United States of America, but most importantly, victory for freedom and liberty here in America and all around the world, because we have the dominant economy, the dominant military, to dominate the current technologies and the future technologies. That's what we're celebrating here. Thank you for having me. Thank you for this award. God bless.
I think the perfect follow-up to that is when we talk about Sanders. Thank you, Congressman.